Yes, guys, we are back. Ryjack here to talk about Man City's win over Everton at Goodison Park, as well as look forward to what we've got going forward with Man City. Only 5 Premier League games left. We've got the FA Cup semis coming up. It is going to be a huge couple of months for Man City. So, as always, please do like and subscribe if you are new. We're on the goal to 150 subs, getting close every day. So, very much appreciated for any help towards that goal. Now, yesterday, of course, we have Man City beating Everton. I do apologize for no watch along. Had a busy weekend. It's my wife's birthday, so hung out with her. But was still able to watch the game. And here's my thoughts. And I'm pretty sure it's a lot of similar thoughts to what you guys think. That game was boring. It was awful. The first 80 minutes was probably some of the most entertaining less football I've seen in quite a while. It was very, I guess Pep set it up defensively solid, which, is fine. If we look at the lineup here, I'll pull that up. Nunez, Diaz, Vardiol, and O'Reilly. And then when you've got Bernardo Silva at right wing, it's going to be pretty defensive because he ends up coming back and helping in the midfield. You got Nico Gonzalez and Gundogan. And all things considered, the defensive back line, the midfield, it was solid. Nobody, Everton didn't have a ton of chances. They hit the post at one point in the first half. I think it was Tarkovsky, might have been Branthwaite. But other than that, Branthwaite had a header that Ortega made a nice save on, kind of a instinct reaction where he just threw his hand up and stopped it. But other than those two small chances, I wouldn't even call them full chances. Maybe the Branthwaite header was a good chance, but they didn't create much. City were solid defensively, and we didn't look like they were gonna score, in my opinion. I'll pull the stats up here so you can see what I'm talking about as well. XG clearly in favor of City, 2.04 to the 0.91. They only had 8 shots, 3 on target, only one big chance. I'm guessing that's the Branthwaite header that Ortega made the very nice, impressive save on. City only had 3 big chances as well, very minimal creation. Like I said, the game was relatively quiet, relatively boring through 80 minutes. But eventually, we kind of kicked things into gear. We made some subs that I thought were good. I thought Savinho did need to come off. I don't think he was as good as that rating is. I probably would have preferred Bernardo Silva coming off personally, but Doku came on. I thought he did well. He impacted the game. He doesn't get a goal or assist or anything, but he's running at players, which is what he's in there to do. Kovacic, of course, comes on. In my head, I'm thinking, why is Gonzalez coming off? I don't know what's going on here, but it ends up being the right decision, and you got to give it to Pep. I mean, comes on, scores the second goal after the first goal from Nico O'Reilly, who I'll talk about in just a second, but I thought the subs ended up working out pretty well in Pep's favor, so I will give credit to Pep there. I know that people are upset about how lack of entertaining it was and how there was not much progressive attacking football that we normally see, but at the end of the day, what really matters at this point in the season is 3 points, and we got the 3 points, 2-0. So you see how tight the table is. Clearly, this is following all of the games from the weekend, aside from Forest, who play tomorrow. Assuming they win, I guess. I mean, they're playing Spurs. Spurs are in a bad run of form, obviously, but so are Forest, 2 losses in a row. So who knows what happens here. But third is 59 points, all the way down to 7th, 57 points. The cutoff will be 5th. That is Champions League qualification this season. And City have a great chance to get that qualification. However, it's going to be tough. I mean, we are in a neck-and-neck battle with these other teams who are all wanting the same thing. Everyone wants Champions League. No one wants to drop into Europa League, of course. So there's only 5 games left. We win all 5, and we're fine. We win 4 out of 5. We're probably good as well. I think typically in a season, top 4 is achieved with 65 points. So 7 points from the last 5 games, in theory, does enough to qualify, because you got to remember some of these teams do play each other. I think Newcastle and Chelsea do play each other. Meanwhile, we do play Villa. It's a big, you could say 6-pointer, I guess. at this point in the season. And then the rest of our games are from teams that are out of this. We got Bournemouth, we have Fulham, we have, who else do we have? Wolves and Southampton. I believe those are the remaining fixtures. So favorable aside from the Villa game. It is at home, I believe. So that is something nice. But before we move on to talk about what's going on the rest of the season and some transfers that I'd like to talk about, we need to speak about Nico O'Reilly. That guy, he is a star boy. He has been given an opportunity to play left back. Yes, it's out of position. He is a midfielder by trade, and even Pep has admitted he's not a left back, which is good going forward. I hope we see him in the midfield more. But since he's been in the lineup, he has been very, very impressive. Gets himself a goal. One of the best players on the pitch, without a doubt, in this game. He gets forward. He makes darting runs into the box. He progresses the ball. He's defensively solid. He's got a big physical profile that is something we definitely have missed from the fullback position. You know, we go back to João Cancelo, who's kind of that creative fullback, but not a big physical presence. The other left back we've had is Josko, but again, he's most of the time when he's a left back, he's really not doing much defending. He's all the way up the pitch up here. It's not very often where he gets in these one-on-one battles with wingers, and even when he does, he's not as solid, I don't know, that as Nico O'Reilly is in those defensive battles. I've really enjoyed the Diaz and Vardio partnership together and how that's being utilized for Pep the last maybe, 3-4 weeks or so. Seems like this is something that we could utilize a lot going forward. Nunes, again, another player that deserves some praise. Not a right back. I think we can all admit it. He's not going to be a world-class right back anytime soon, but the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, he's been putting in some good performances. Gets the assist for the match-winning goal down this right-hand side over here on an overlapping run from Bernardo. Even Bernardo, you can see him. He's like, go, 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 make the run. So Nunes has done a good job, and I think he deserves some praise. Will he leave in the summer? If he wants to play in the midfield, he could leave. And if he does, I don't think it's a huge loss or anything. But for the time being, I've been impressed with his overall game. Ederson, of course, out injured. Ortega stepped up massively in his place. Like I said earlier, huge save and was pretty good with getting the ball out quickly with his distribution. I don't think he was necessarily as poor as he's been a lot of the times he had to play this season. When you move on to the midfield, another very good performance from Gundogan, gets an assist, and he's really turned back the clock the last maybe even 2 months. He has sincerely, legitimately upped his game. And it's been very impressive and very fun to watch because we all love Gundogan and we all know what he's done and what he's meant to this club. It's very good to see him perform so well over the last 2 weeks. Even though you can clearly see he's not up to it athletically, he's still got it mentally and tactically. He's still got it. Nico Gonzalez, solid. Didn't notice him a whole lot, but again, I always say when you're in that 6 role, if we don't notice you a lot, it's probably a pretty good thing in general. Bernardo, I think that rating is a bit high. It didn't seem super effective to me, and his days at right wing, I'm sure all the fans, at least that I see on Twitter, kind of agree with that. He kind of does our heads in, and it is what it is. We're going to see Bernardo Silva playing as long as Pep is in charge, and Bernardo is going to be here. That's just what's going to happen. Savinho, like I said, didn't do anything really in the game. I don't think him and the left wing and Marmoush at striker is a very good connection. I think he likes to aim at Haaland, and while he's still out injured, it just didn't seem there was not a real connection there for me. De Bruyne, this might be controversial, but I just thought he was awful yesterday. I thought he was terrible. I don't want to sit here and say this is why Kev is not getting his contract. We told you, but people overreact last week when he has man of the match performance. He gets a goal and an assist, and yes, he can still do that occasionally, but that's the problem. It is occasionally. All too often, we've seen performances like yesterday where he's just not on it. He has many displaced passes. He has many times where he loses possession, and he doesn't get back defensively because he can't anymore. And it's understandable why, for me, the club is not wanting to give him $400,000 a week to stay there and do what he does occasionally. If he had it every other game, maybe they would. Maybe Kev didn't want to take the wage cut. Who knows the real story, but it does seem like he's upset he's not staying, which is sad to see. But I also understand the club's side of, we're doing a rebuild. $400,000 coming off the wage bill every week is huge to attract someone like Florian Wirtz. Well, maybe you don't give him that much money, but it creates some space in the budget to spend. So I do understand, and I accept the club's decision to move forward with that. Marmoush, I thought, was pretty poor in general. He had a few opportunities I thought he could have done better with. He's lively as always, so that's always good to see. I like watching Marmoush play. He's very easy on the eyes. He's very silky with the ball, but got in a few shooting opportunities and didn't quite take them. He loses the ball a few times in my mind, so not the best overall performance from Marmoush. Kovacic gets goal, very, very nice. And it was as well nice to see Akanji get an appearance, only a couple minutes, but he did slot right into the midfield when he came on for De Bruyne. He was basically in this area, kind of in the John Stones role, which was interesting. I kind of maybe at some point would like to see Vardiol do that, but we saw more of Akanji. And I guess that's just Pep trusts him to do that role. I don't personally rate him in the midfield, much like Stones, obviously, and I haven't really seen it, but in my head, it makes sense that Gvardiol is going to eventually be that player that can step into the midfield, because he's kind of a unicorn, can kind of do so many things, and is so gifted, so talented, and just it makes sense to me that eventually he would be able to do that. So, going forward for City, who do we have left? Are we getting Champions League? That is the priority, and what I think the focus should be. Huge game against Aston Villa on Tuesday. It's a home game for City. They should be looking to go for the win. We get the win. Champions League is essentially locked up, in my mind at least. Maybe it's not mathematically locked up, but we'll be in such a fantastic spot getting that win, putting us that much closer to Champions League football. Then we go to the weekend, the FA Cup semis against Forest. Another huge one. Still an attempt to win a trophy this season, which would not pave over the cracks of this terrible season, but it would be nice to send KDB off with an FA Cup trophy that he can lift himself. Following that, like I said, Wolves, Southampton, Bournemouth, Fulham to end the season. So it is a bit of an easier, at least eye test-wise, 4-game stretch to end it for City, where some other teams might have some more difficult fixtures ahead. But I do believe the win yesterday puts us in a great spot. Another win against Villa would do massive wonders towards our Champions League qualification. And I would say if we win, we are essentially locked in. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. That is the talk today. I'll be back tomorrow to do my Villa preview, and we can talk about some transfers there. Hopefully there's some more transfer news tomorrow morning. It'll be a Monday, of course, so we shall see. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Do like, subscribe, and let me know what you guys think of City's game yesterday, as well as are we going to get Champions League, because that's the most important thing for me. So anyway, thank you. See ya.